Hi everyone, and welcome to this session of Ask Advisory. If this is your first time meeting me, I am Anna, the founder of Advisory, and I have placed millions of dollars in advertising for businesses large and small across the globe. I've worked in the advertising agency industry for over about 10 years now, and I've been the media director at multiple agencies. So I started Advisory because I wanted to, one, help businesses understand the often overly complicated world of digital marketing and advertising, and two, because I wanted to give marketing expertise and make it accessible to businesses of all sizes. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I have these Ask Advisory sessions, and we talk about a lot about Facebook and Instagram ads, but also more about digital marketing, marketing as a whole, and of course, just running a business and sharing business tips. So today I'm going to be talking about digital advertising beyond Facebook and Instagram ads. I talk a lot about Facebook and Instagram ads because it's something that every business should be using, whether you're a solopreneur or a large corporation. But today I want to talk about things outside of Facebook and Instagram, because there are a lot of things that you can do outside of Facebook and Instagram. And especially if you're a larger or medium-sized business, you probably want to be thinking about these things too. Now, before I really dive in, I just want to make sure I mention, if you haven't done so already, make sure to check out our free mini course on Facebook and Instagram ads and how to use them to grow your business even on a small budget. And I've also linked to our Work With Us page where you can book an introductory call with me and my team if you're interested in learning any more about the things that I talk about today, or interested in just seeing if we would be a good fit to work with you. So that is also linked too. All right, so let's dive into digital advertising outside of Facebook and Instagram ads. So probably the most popular, or I should say most well-known advertising outside of Facebook and Instagram ads is Google. I was at a conference a few months ago and they were talking about the duopoly of Facebook and Instagram, or Facebook and Google, because honestly the majority of all digital advertising dollars go to either Facebook or Google. Now, when people think of Google, you immediately think of search, and that is definitely one really important tactic and a really great tactic to get people who are already in the purchase funnel. So usually if someone is searching for something, they've already decided that they're probably going to purchase it, or they're in that mode of searching of like looking for a really good restaurant instead of convincing them to go to a restaurant. So it's a great way to reach people who are near the bottom of the funnel, who are really in between that consideration and purchasing or making a decision. So Google search is great, and that's where the majority of search dollars go, but there are also things like Bing and Yahoo search. Now, going back to Google, there's also a lot of other things that you can do on Google AdWords. You can, one, advertise on YouTube. Yes, advertising on YouTube is a great place to run video outside of just Facebook and Instagram. You can do this through your Google AdWords account. So if you've done any sort of search in the past, you can run YouTube advertising within Google AdWords. And then you can also run display advertising through Google AdWords too. All right, so in Google AdWords, you have search, you have YouTube, and you have display. But when you run things on Google AdWords, you're only running it on what's called the Google network, right? So if you're running video on YouTube, your video is only going to show up on YouTube. If you're running display ads in Google AdWords, your display ads are only going to show up on Google's network of sites. Not necessarily a Google site, but things that are within their AdSense network. So a lot of times when you see bloggers, a lot of times they have the AdSense, they are part of the AdSense network. So wherever that network is, that is where your ads could be placed. And then, of course, search is in the search page. But also one thing to note is that not necessarily you can buy search ads here yet, which it'll be really interesting to see how this develops over the next few years. But voice search is becoming huge. You probably already have an Alexa or Google Home or something. You're in your house or you're asking, hey Siri. Voice search is becoming huge. So it'll be really interesting to see how Google especially monetizes that. So it'll be very interesting. Now, outside of Google AdWords, if you want to reach people outside of the Google network, there are a couple things you can do. So one, and this is pretty much like the most basic type of digital advertising, and it's called direct to publisher or direct placement. This is when you go to a very specific website and you say, I want to run an ad on your website. So a lot of times you'll see this in like local markets. People will say, you know, I watch the 10 o'clock news on this station and I want my ad to run on their website. That would be a direct placement or a direct to publisher, right? Now, the good things about this is that, one, you know where your ad is going to be seen. You know exactly where you can pull it up and see what your ad. The bad thing about this is that oftentimes you're paying a lot more because you're going direct to publisher. And second, you're showing your ad to everyone on, most likely on that site. You can obviously geo-target and all that kind of stuff for the bigger sites like a weather.com or whatever it may be, but you're not targeting based on your target audience. So that's something to keep in mind when you're thinking about doing direct to publisher or direct placement. Now, the big thing, and this is if I'm going to run ads outside of Facebook, outside of Google AdWords, what you need to be thinking about, and where we put the majority of the money outside of those two platforms, is programmatic digital advertising. So programmatic, people get really kind of fearful of, and they get a little bit anxious. They don't really understand it, even though it's been around for like 10 years. And the best way to describe it is that it's almost like a stock exchange, okay? So when you're running programmatic buying, you are bidding on target audiences or you are bidding on specific placements. And then the publishers are sharing the things that they want to sell, and they're deciding, yes, I'm going to take your bid, right? But on top of that, they're also seeing bids from all of these other advertisers come in at the same time. So you have to, when you're running programmatic buying, it's just more of a bidding system. It's actually not that complicated because it's almost all automated for you. You just have to really make sure that, one, you're bidding enough to reach your target audience, but then also you're also making sure that you're not bidding so much that you're way outbidding and paying more than you really need to be to reach your audience. Now, the reason why I really like programmatic over direct placement or direct publisher is because it thinks about your target audience and your goal first. So if you're trying to reach, let's say me, okay? So I am a older millennial, I'm a female who's married, and I live in the Midwest. I shop at, if anyone's heard of Von Maur, I would love you to tell me because I am obsessed with Von Maur. But I shop at Von Maur, Banana Republic, I like Whole Foods, but I go to Hy-Vee often, whatever. This is my persona, okay? Now, if you are trying to reach me just because I'm in my local market, you're probably, if you put an ad on the local newspaper website or whatever, I'm probably not going to see it, even though I'm in your geographical area, right? Because yes, I'm in that geographical area, but that's probably not where I'm spending the majority of my time online. So what I like about programmatic is that it really does put the person that you're trying to reach first, and also puts what your goal is, whether it's getting more video views or building your brand or getting people to your website or converting, whatever it may be. I can optimize for those very specific goals. Now, the thing about when you use programmatic and you put your target audience first, that means that your ads could show up kind of, wherever. But don't worry, people get really worried about that. You can, what is called blacklist websites. So if there are specific websites that you don't want to show up, if there are certain topics that you don't want to be, around, we can absolutely blacklist that. And you can also make sure that you're showing up on like tier 1, tier 2 websites. So you're not getting in those like really tiny websites of, bloggers who have 10 people coming to their site every month, right? But the thing is that with programmatic, again, it goes back to making your target audience first, because it shouldn't matter if your target audience is on a, let's say HGTV website, or if they're on ESPN, or if they're on Cooking Channel. I don't know why I'm throwing out a bunch of Scripps Network stuff, but wherever your audience is where you want to be, right? So that's what's awesome about programmatic, and it's really more efficient and effective with your dollars than doing direct placement. Now, one caveat is that if you are doing direct placement, the only time that this really makes sense is if you're doing like a super, super, super niche publication. So this is really like for their B2B audiences, or if you really the B2B audiences. I'm just going to throw that out, okay? All right, so the other things that you can do with digital advertising outside of Facebook, Instagram ads, Google, and direct publisher, and now we've covered programmatic. These are not necessarily specific things or platforms, but more just tactics that you can do. One of them being geofencing. This is a freaking awesome tactic, okay? So geofencing is when you choose a very specific location and then you serve ads to people who are within a radius of that location. And you can actually, when we place geofencing, we can get down to 0.1 tenths of a mile, right? So a tenth of a mile, we can get that close to a location. Why this is so awesome and how you could use it is, one, let's say you have a competitor that has a store 10 miles from here. You can actually serve ads to people who are within a tenth of a mile of that store, so most likely checking out your competitor's store, and serve ads to them while they're not only in that vicinity, but also serve ads to them 30 days after they've left that area. Pretty cool, huh? This is great for like automotive, it's great for furniture, it's great even if you're like a wedding shop. Let's say you sell wedding dresses and you obviously someone's trying on dresses here and you want them to come to your store and try on dresses at your store. You can serve ads to them to get them, entice them to book an appointment at your store too. So geofencing is freaking awesome. It's also great for B2B because let's say you go to a trade show or a conference. You can geo-target all of the people who are attending that conference, and then you can also serve ads to them 30 days after they've attended the conference so that you can keep on staying top of mind as you're continuing to try to reach out to them and build that relationship. So geofencing is awesome. One thing to note, you can geofence within Facebook and Instagram ads, but you can do it only within a mile at this point around a specific location. So something to note there. All right, the other really cool thing that I want to talk about today, and this will be my last one for the day, is email of pens, okay? So one thing, this might be, a little deeper than I've really gone before, but it's a really, really cool tactic. So one, if you are trying to actually get or find more people who are in your audience, so that whether it's B2B or B2C, whatever you may be, if you're trying to find more people in your audience, you can actually purchase lists of those people from data providers. And at Advisory, we can help you do this. So if you are looking for a very specific audience, we can actually help you purchase a list of people